I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Peace and safety to all the Akim out there pushing his word in sincerity and in truth. Revelation 7 and 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude. And that's what I'm going to go into in this lesson. Uh, Even though we did extensive breakdown on this, proving that multitude is referring to the 144,000 men, okay, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues. And pursuant to Isaiah chapter 11, all right, and upon many other scriptures about Israel being scattered to the four corners of the earth. All right, so this is not talking about other nations, all right, heathens. This is the scattered Israelites, which would be considered Gentiles. Reading on, and stood before the Lamb, and stood before the Lamb, clothed in white robes and palms in their hands. All right, so I'm gonna get a precept in the book of Matthew, chapter 15, and I'm gonna start at verse 29, just to prove that point further. Matthew 15:29, and Yahushua departed thence and came nigh into the sea of Galilee, and went up into a mountain and sat down there. And great multitudes, okay, and great multitudes, like I say, that's what we dealing with, proving the fact, the point that that multitude is referring to the 144,000 men, and of course their women and children are included with those men, but they're not numbered. They're not considered the multitude. They're not, when it's referring to the multitude in Revelation 7, okay, it's not referring to the women and the children. So it says, and great multitudes came unto him, having with them those that were lame, blind, dumb, maimed. All right, and that's symbolic of the elect, man. Okay, and many others, and cast them down at Yahushua's feet, and he healed them. All right, because that's what the elect is looking to be healed. Okay, he's going to heal the elect, man. All right, that multitude that spoke of in Revelation 7 and 9. But this here is speaking of another multitude at a different time, but it's still referring to the men, and we're going to prove it. In so much that the multitude wondered when they saw the dumb to speak, and maimed to behold, and lame to walk, and blind to see, and they glorified the power of Israel. And that's what the elect will be doing. Then Yahushua called his disciples unto him and said, I have compassion on the multitude, the elect. All right, this, like I say, this is a different elect at a different time, okay? But it's proving the point that is referring to men. Because they continued with me now 3 days and have nothing to eat, and I will not send them away fasting lest they faint in their way. And this knowledge is known as food, man. Okay. This knowledge is known as food. Let me get a precept to prove that. Book of Jeremiah, I believe 3 and 15. Jeremiah 3:15, and I will give you pastors according to my heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. All right, so we've been fed with that, with knowledge and understanding. Okay, and that's why Yahushua said, and he said, I will not send them away fasting lest they faint in the way. Okay, and his disciples said to him, verse 33, whence shall we have so much bread in the wilderness as to fill so great a multitude? All right, so like I said, we being fed with that bread, okay, which is really considered knowledge. You know, this is here, like I say, this is a different time, but it's symbolic of that. All right, he's actually physically feeding this multitude of people. All right, literal food. All right, but when it's talking about in Revelation chapter 7 and 9, that multitude, all right, through the Spirit, they will be fed with what? Knowledge and understanding. Okay? It said, and Yahushua said unto them, how many loaves ye have? And they said 7, and a few little fish. And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the ground. And he took the 7 loaves and the fishes and gave thanks and brake them and gave them to the disciples, and the disciples to the multitude. All right, and that's the order. All right, that's the order. He gave the bread, meaning the truth, to the disciples. Like I said, in this chapter here, it's talking about literal bread. All right, and fish. All right, literal food. All right, but through the Spirit. All right, the knowledge that he gave the disciples when he told them to eat this bread, that symbolizes that this knowledge. All right, those same pastors that's going to feed you with what? Knowledge and understanding. All right, so he says, and gave to his disciples, and the disciples to the multitude, and they did all eat and were filled, and they took up of the broken meat that was left 7 basketful, and they did eat. Were 4,000 men, and this is the point right here. And they did eat were 4,000 men besides, and this is the key word I want to deal with. Besides, we're going to look that up, and as you can see, it says separate. Okay, separately. Okay, apart. All right, in the Strong's. Okay, so. And they did eat were 4,000 men separately, women and children. Okay, so he numbered the men. All right, so he gave the bread to the disciples, told them to give it to the multitude. All right, the men, and the men gave it to the women and children, man. All right, and last verse, and he sent away the multitude and took ship and came into the coast of Magdala. Okay, so the point I want to make is that multitude, going back to, let me go back here, Revelation 7 and 9, and after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, all right, of men, beside, separately, apart from women and children, but they are there, they are a part of it, okay, because he's not going to deliver a man, okay, and he has a house, okay, wives and children, and leave them behind. That's not consistent with the scriptures. Okay, we brought it out how he saved Noah, all right, which will be considered one of the 144,000, a part of that multitude, and his house, meaning women and children. So it says, after this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongue, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed in white robes and palms in their hands. Okay, and that's the point. I hope you, Akim, was edified. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.